So in Latin, there are 5 cases: the nominative for subjects, the genitive showing possession, the dative for indirect objects, the accusative for direct objects, the ablative for a whole lot of things, and for direct address, the vocative. Oh, there are 6 cases: the nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, ablative, vocative, and to show location. Oh, shoot. Okay, that makes 7. The 7 cases in Latin, or amongst the cases in Latin, are such elements as... hold on now. Let me do this again. Amongst all of the cases in Latin are the nominative, which is used for subjects, the genitive showing possession, the dative for indirect objects, the accusative for direct objects, the ablative for a whole lot of things, by, with, from, and on, the vocative case for the person you're speaking to, and the locative case, which is the case least commonly seen, used to show location for only a few nouns. And that's what I'll spend my time on in this video. In Latin, we normally show location with nouns by using the preposition in and the ablative case. In Italia means in Italy. In villa, in the house. That's easy. But some words retain a very old case form. So the language Latin evolved from had more than 6 cases. There was a 7th, the locative, and most nouns lost this case and ended up using the ablative instead. But certain ones, like names of cities, towns, and small islands, kept their locative case form. So if you were staying in Rome, instead of saying in Roma, you would put Roma in the locative case, and you don't use the preposition in. Pueri Romae manebant. The boys were staying in Rome. So Romae, the I ending, is the locative ending, and the rules for the locative are surprisingly simple. So for first and second declension singular nouns, the locative is the same as the genitive singular. So I for first declension singular and E for second declension singular. Romae at Rome and Corinthi at Corinth. The noun is Corinthus. For second declension plural nouns, the locative is the same as the dative or ablative plural. So to say at Athens, the nominative is Atenae. It's plural, just like Athens is plural in English. So the locative is Atenis. Thebai, Thebes, also plural, has its locative in Thebis, and Pompeii, itself a plural noun, is Pompeiis in the locative case. Third declension nouns have their locative identical to the dative or ablative. So Carthago is a third declension noun, and at Carthage, its locative, is typically Carthagini, but Carthaginae, an ablative form, is also used. So the plural doesn't have this issue, though, because the dative and ablative are identical. Tralibus, at Tralles. Remember, the locative case is used only with cities, towns, and small islands. So I'm often asked, what's a small island rather than a medium or a large island? Well, let me put it this way. If the island itself is roughly equivalent to a city, like in the ancient world, islands would sometimes be their own city-state, if small enough, then it would take the locative case. An island like Sicily, which consists of many different large and small cities, no. In Sicilia, in Sicily. Okay, so I lied. There are some nouns that still have a locative case. Memorize these or learn them, whatever. There's just 3 major ones, and they are so important and commonly used all the time that the Romans kept their locative, even though it would have been easier to just forget it and use the ablative with in. So here, humi, on the ground, domi, at home, and ruri, in the countryside. There are a few others, but way too obscure and rare to note. One more neat thing about these nouns that have the locative case. Just as they don't have a preposition when showing location, they also don't have prepositions when showing movement towards or movement away from. So, example, here's a regular sentence. Ab urbe ad villam venio. I am coming from the city to the house. Notice the prepositions ab and a showing motion from and towards, respectively. I used to say to my students, look at where the hump of the letter is pointing. For the ab, the B points away from the A, and for the ad, the D points towards the A. Helps you to remember these. So ab takes the ablative case, while ad takes the accusative case. But if I am coming from Rome to Athens, well, these nouns take the locative case. So let's just use the ablative case to show motion from. Roma and the accusative case to show motion towards, Atenas. So we have sailed from Delos to Pompeii would be de lo Pompeios navigavamos. Domum it, he went home. And this last example brings up the famous Monty Python skit in the life of Brian. Romani ite domum. Romans, go home. Okay, so there you go, the locative case. First, it's only found with names of cities, towns, and small islands, and the words rus, countryside, domus, home, and humus, ground. To form it, first and second declension singular words use the genitive singular ending, so I for Roma, and an E for a city like Corinthos. Third declension nouns like Carthago and all plural cities like Atenae have the locative identical to the dative or ablative ending. And the locative of domus is domi, and humus is humi. They are second declension nouns, so this is the genitive ending. While the locative of rus is ruri, it's in the third declension, so this is identical to the dative. And don't forget, these nouns that take the locative also just use the ablative case for motion from and the accusative case for motion towards. So here we go. Romae, at Rome, Romam, to Rome, and Roma, from Rome.